What we do here is go back.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to episode 63 of the Lost Media podcast. Today we're talking about Pink Morning Cartoon, or the TV8 Kids Fun Festival, which is its real name. More affectionately known as Pink Morning Cartoon to the internet, this is one of those really strange and quite interesting lost media searches since 2020, and I'm going to divulge everything I can off by heart. I'm not looking at notes for this one. This is a very lengthy topic, so I'd usually do notes for something like this, but I've decided that I wanted to talk about the general gist of the story behind this. That means we're not going through names of people who worked on this, names of people who found different pieces of Pink Morning Cartoon. We're just going to go off by heart and talk about every single little piece of the puzzle without all the intricate details. If you want to see the intricate details of Pink Morning Cartoon or the TV8 Kids Fun Festival, then check out Blame It on George's video, which is in the description, and it might be playing behind me actually during this podcast. So please definitely check that out if you want all the little details of this. But the chances are, if you're watching this or listening, you are probably someone who's seen everything there is to be seen about Pink Morning Cartoon. And maybe you haven't. You never know. I'm going to try and give some different opinions and different details to it. So without further ado, let's start from the beginning. And in 2020, and I think in the years prior, people had found these strange videos uploaded. One of them had a question mark, just a bunch of question marks, and it was a hat sort of a song. And it's a voiceover basically saying, "You like that hat, Gene? You like that hat, Jerry?" Not Jerry. It's a different name. And that was Pink Morning Cartoon. It was very, very strange. The audio was terrible. The picture quality was pretty bad. And it was just some really creepy and weird animations. There was also another song that is now stuck in my head that was from another clip, which is Everything's Coming Up Spring. I'm not sure if that one was uploaded in 2009 and the one with all the question marks was uploaded in 2007, but I do know they were uploaded by the same YouTube user, and he pretty much just put in the description, "I have no idea what this TV show is. It aired at 4:30 in the morning on a public access station near me. If anyone knows what the TV show is called or if they have more details or episodes of it, please contact me." That was what he put in there, and for a very long time, no one seemed to really care or take notice to this. It was just this little underground video until everyone just automatically, randomly became interested in this, and it grew like wildfire. I think the advent of public access shows being brought to light, actually from Blame It on George himself, might have helped with stuff like this growing in the lost media community and people wanting to find these creepy lost public access shows. And this was definitely one of those creepy public access shows. You watch it back and you're just like, what was this? This is weird. For a very long time, there's no details on this. There's no details on how to find it. Nobody knows which station it aired on. Nobody knows anything about Pink Morning Cartoon. Nobody knows what name it was called. So it took everyone a fair while to figure out details associated with this. And eventually people came across the actual person who ran the station and the station. So they tried contacting the person who ran the station. She died 3 years before this search grew. So that was a real bummer. And people were like, well, how the hell are we gonna find anyone? Like, what are we supposed to do? And then they figured out a contact of her daughter. So they contacted her daughter. By the way, this is a long time into the search, I should preface, guys. I'm jumping pretty far towards the end. So like I said, if you want to see every little detail of how people, tried to find little clues on Pink Morning Cartoon, definitely watch Blame It on George's video. But they contacted her and she was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe people are so interested in my mum's show." And it was confirmed that her mum made Pink Morning Cartoon and ran the network that aired it. And she put the whole show together and made heaps of episodes. And it was a labor of love for her. And it was something for her grandkids and kids and relatives. and it was a really special thing with their family. It was something that made their family really happy. So for her to see that everyone became interested in her mum's show, it was incredibly humbling for her. But she said that she wished her mum was still alive to watch it, which is, it adds a really surprisingly sad and wholesome aspect to this lost media search that I don't think anyone was expecting when they began searching for Pink Morning Cartoon. It's worth noting that there were all sorts of attempts at leads and people who might have featured and voices that might have featured in this. To go from a very sad and wholesome kind of ending to this story, I'll go. People are really disappointing and messed up aspect of this is people thought that the person who sang "Everything's Coming Up Spring" was a children's entertainer that used dummies and different puppets on public access TV shows. And this guy was messed up. He went to jail for being a complete creep. Don't really want to go into detail, but because it will ruin the flow of this podcast completely. Again, look into this a lot more. This is a podcast. I'm just talking about it in a really chill way, shedding light on this. To get more details on that, definitely click the video in the description. The first thing in the description. That was confirmed to be a false lead, though, so there was no need even, I guess, pointing that out more. There was no need me pointing it out in this, but it was one of the details I remembered of this lost media search. Every time I record, I make a terrible sound with my mouth. That's the worst. Guys, when you're talking a lot in a short space of time, your mouth's trying to produce a lot of saliva. That's the fucking result. So every podcast I always say, sorry I made a weird noise into the mic. You can clip that, guys. That's one of the worst. And that's one of the tough things of doing continuous recordings and podcasts. You've got to be on 100% of the time and you can't have weird shit happen. But that's in the podcast now. Oh my God. So back to the topic. Episodes. The really sad thing about all the episodes is that they once existed on VHS tapes. The person who made the show had a full collection at her house. I don't think it was at her house. It might have been at her brother's house or a son's house. You guys are going to have to correct me on this if you know a great deal about this. But the really disappointing thing is that person was just a crazy dickhead relative. And out of spite and out of just being a complete douche, he took all of the episodes and destroyed them on VHS. He destroyed all the VHS tapes of all of her shows. I don't know if it was some sort of way of him getting back at her for something or what happened, but it was explained in such a way where he was clearly just a dickhead, a really itchy nose. He was just a jerk who just didn't care, and the family didn't have much contact with him anymore because he just did a lot of crap things. So this family member has personally gone and lost Pink Morning Cartoon himself. And this happens a lot, especially with these lower budget shows. When they're not transferred to digital and they're just sitting around on VHS tapes, there's always some deranged family member who takes the show that one person made and just destroys it, or just takes it and loses it neglectfully or something. So really sad and disappointing. And after that was revealed in an interview with the woman who made Pink Morning Cartoon's daughter, a lengthy interview by the people who were searching for it, they kind of realized, oh shit, well, there's no other way of finding this. She did mention that a lot of the animation tests and a lot of different, production process parts of Pink Morning Cartoon probably were on floppy disks from the 90s, from old computers. But it's likely, they likely don't exist and they're impossible to find, and she didn't know where they were. So Pink Morning Cartoon is one of those pieces of lost media that the search is more worth focusing on. And the lost media community and the people searching for this, managing to find out who made it and managing to contact their daughter and figure out what happened to the show is more of an amazing feat than finding the show. Because finding the show, I don't think is relevant anymore. It's never going to be found. It's not something that people should really bother looking for, in my opinion, because they were the only episodes. And unless someone's accidentally recorded it or has recordings of full episodes and one day someone uploads an episode, from a recording again. Which is extremely unlikely, guys. This is a public access show that aired at 4:30 in the morning. That one person who uploaded clips from it, that was unlikely to begin with. But yeah, unless that happens, we're extremely unlikely to get Pink Morning Cartoon. The coolest thing to happen out of this, in my opinion, with the footage that was online, was somebody remastering the Hats short. I don't think Everything's Coming Up Spring was remastered, but the Hats one was. And it looks really impressive compared to the original. You can still see some glitches in the picture and a few little pixels, but for considering what the original looked like, the remaster is impressive. I'll just say that. It's really impressive. Yeah, it's cool to see something start off as creepy and a bit eerie and just like, oh, what's that? And, not much detail being known on it. The person who uploaded the original clips just like, yeah, let me know if you know anything about this. All I know is it was aired on public access at 4:30 in the morning and I somehow randomly recorded it. It's cool for it to go from something a bit creepy, a bit eerie, to like a really wholesome story about this woman who ran this network and public access network, really no money or funding, and she just put all this time and effort into making this show and trying to make people happy with it and her family happy. And it's sad that a family member goes and just takes all the tapes and destroys them. What an idiot. But when you look at this search, it's amazing how the internet could just get around some old public access show and, make people's day, really, or probably made that girl's week or month, contacting her and just saying, we've all been looking for this show. And they did say in the interview, what do you think about everyone's search for your mum's old show that she made? And she's like, this is the coolest thing ever, that people are interested in this and people are searching for my mum's show. It's really an honor. And she, as I've said earlier in the podcast, she did say she really wishes that her mum got to see it, everyone being interested in it. And it was only a few years away, but that's often what happens in these stories. That's typical of these stories. Someone works their whole life on something, and only after they died, Vincent van Gogh's the most famous example, only after they died does their work get attention and get people interested, and a really nice light gets shed on it, which I think is probably the most wholesome thing about Pink Morning Cartoon. The TV8 Kids Fun Club, I believe the real name of the show is called. Yeah. I hope this wasn't such a scuffed episode of the Lost Media podcast. I wanted to discuss the main crux, I guess you could say, of this story. And I do want to add to it a little bit more before I finish this and give my sort of 2 cents on this. I've been involved in public access television since I was 14. To say it like that means that makes it sound like I've literally been involved for like 10 years or 11 years. Here and there. And to say here and there, it's literally been like 2 shows I've been involved with. But let's just, what I'm trying to say with that, guys, is I get it. I get the process of public access television. I also get it that when you make a show for public access television and you don't use the internet, especially these days, there's a very high likelihood that your show is going to be viewed by 0 people. No one's ever going to watch it. Like, ever. Literally. It's going to be just a passion project, and it's going to be your labor of love type thing. And that's why stuff like YouTube is so much cooler and so amazing to me, because I just make a podcast where I talk about lost media and people all of a sudden start tuning in and start watching and start liking all the videos. And, you upload a video, it has 0 views, 0 likes the night before, and you wake up the next morning and it has 11 likes and 150 views, and that's why YouTube is so much better. And public access TV shows just do not get attention. And so for this show to somehow get attention is a really cool story. And I believe it's quite special. Take it from someone who's seen a lot of public access shows fail and never get any attention whatsoever, ever. It's very awesome to see a story like this where hundreds and thousands, literally, of people were interested in this show and wanted to research about it and wanted to find out more about it. It's awesome. It's awesome. Pink Morning Cartoon, really wholesome story. I've got more episodes coming out very soon, guys. I've changed my schedule up again. I know. I like to keep you updated, though. I like to keep you guys posted on this. I'm trying to upload 1 a day for the next like few weeks. I know that's a lot. But then I might skip a day or two so that I still have videos in the library. If you don't know, next week I'm recording so many episodes. It's like 10 to 13, I think I'm going to record, or 10 to 12. I don't know. I think it is 10 to 13. It's just ridiculous. I'm recording a lot next week. It might actually be 12 now that I remember. It's irrelevant. It is relevant to this podcast, though, because I am going on a trip the week after next, and I want to be able to upload episodes continuously that were recorded a while before. So you guys keep getting content. I don't just stop making content. I've got a backlog of content that I can upload, which is really, really cool. And I literally just flick it from private to public in the YouTube studio. It's all done and ready to go. So yeah, that should be good, but we'll see how we go. Another episode coming up soon. Thanks again for watching, guys. This has been episode 63 of the Lost Media Podcast. Goodbye. The end.